Good evening. Today is February 9th and it is 7:03 at night. We are going to start with our video conference that was scheduled for tonight's class. It is a shame that no one is already here, so anyway, I'm going to share the presentation I brought in which we are going to talk about the use of the simple past tense. First of all, it is very important to take into account that we use the simple past tense in order to talk about the past. That's why we have some time expressions such as last year, in 1476, yesterday, in 1995, 5 years ago, last week, etc. So we use the simple past in order to talk about activities that happened in the past. So in this first part of the presentation, we are emphasizing on the use of the simple past of the verb to be. Well, the simple past of the verb to be is, let me go back. I don't know what happened to, all right. So here we have the simple past of to be, in which the form is was or were. And simply, if we want to make the sentences negative, we only have to include the expression not, or with the contraction such as the example wasn't. So remember, you have to use the structure of a subject, which is a person, I, he, she, or it. And then we are going to use for these pronouns, the verb to be would be was or wasn't. With the plural ones that are we, you, or they, we have to use the plural that are were or weren't in the negative form. Very easy to create the questions. At the beginning, we simply have to write the past of the verb to be, was or were, depending on the subject pronoun we have, and then whatever complement we are having. We can have short answers, like the ones we have over here, or long answers in which we have to include the complement in each one of the sentences. Examples. Was I hungry? Was he hungry? Was she hungry? Was it hungry? And with the plural, were we at the theater last weekend? Were you at the theater last weekend? Were they at the theater last weekend? With each one of the answers. And finally, in this simple part, we can, okay. So now we are starting with the regular and regular verbs. Be careful. Over here, it is very important to take into account that you have to memorize the verbs because all of them change. First of all, you have to write the subject pronoun. After this, you have to include the verb, which would be in past. Notice that these ones end in ed, danced, worked, carried, but the last one, which is both, is an irregular one. So depending on if you have regular or verbs, you have to check which one is the past of each one of them. Negative forms. With the verb to be is pretty easy because you only have to include the word not. But over here, you are having the subject pronoun, plus you have to include did, not, or didn't, which is the auxiliary. Then you have the verb in infinitive, so you don't conjugate the verb. And then you have a complement, whatever it is. That's what we have in the examples. So, whatever subject pronoun, didn't as an auxiliary with the verb in infinitive, didn't clean, didn't go. So it would be incorrect to say didn't went because you do not repeat the past. So you have to pay close of attention to the grammar structure of the sentences. In the questions, they are very similar to the ones that we have with the verb to be, but what changes over here is that at the beginning you have to write the auxiliary did. Did, subject pronouns, verb in infinitive. Wherever or whenever you are using the auxiliary did, you do not have to write the verb in past. You have to use the verb in infinitive. Questions may vary depending on if you have long or short answers. Let's observe the sentences over here. You have, he is at the park now. So let's change these sentences into the past. How do you know this is present? First of all, because of the verb to be in present and the expression now. Affirmative. She was at the park yesterday. So you say now, you are including a time expression for the past. The negative one, she wasn't at the park yesterday. Remember, the negative is created simply by including the was, not, or wasn't. In the question, you have to move the verb to be at the beginning. Was she at the park yesterday? This is when you are having the verb to be. But notice, over here we are having verb go, which is an irregular verb. That's different from the verb to be. And that's why over here we have to change the verb in the affirmative sentences. So, affirmative. The past of go is went. She went to the hospital to visit her friend last week. Negatives, remember, negatives in questions with the auxiliary did or didn't. She didn't go to the hospital to visit her friend last week. Did she go to the hospital to visit her friend last week? Remember, why do we use the simple past tense? First of all, we use the simple past tense to talk about completed actions that happened in the past. My mom made some pancake for us yesterday. When you want to give a list of activities or a series of completed actions in the past. I finished my work, walked to the beach, and found a nice place to swim. I was supposed to ask you some questions in this moment, but because you are not over here, so let's simply take a look to the last exercises we have in order to check the simple past of them. Let's check what we have over here. In the first one, you have to change what? You have to change for all of them the sentences into what you have in parentheses. In the first one, you have to create an affirmative sentence. The past of bake would be baked. This is a regular verb. Minnie baked a huge cake Mickey's birthday party. Now, in the second, you have to create an affirmative sentence with the verb break. Break is an irregular verb. The past of break is broke. John broke a window while he was playing football. Number 3, you have to create a question. Very important, even if you have a regular or an irregular verb, because you are using the auxiliary, you have to use the verb in infinitive. Did you ask a question during the lesson? Now, the negative one. Again, you don't have to write the past of the verb over here because this is a negative one. If you have a negative, you simply have to include the didn't and then the verb. They didn't have a picnic at the weekend. Finally, you are having here, they at the party last night. This is a question. We don't have any verb, but we suppose that this is the verb to be for the plural ones, because you are talking about if the people attended a party. As I already said, it is really a shame you are not here, But I do really expect you to take a look to the video that I recorded for you and try to do the exercises that are related to the simple past tense. If you are having difficulties with those structures that I have already explained, please don't hesitate to contact me, to write to me by messages, and I will answer as soon as possible. As no one is over here, so I suppose there is no the possibility to ask questions and answer questions or doubts that the students commonly have. Have a good evening, and I expect the information would be useful to you. Thank you.